One of my favorite memories when I was a kid was sitting around the hi-fi, firing up the record player, and my folks putting on a vinyl of Lionel Richie or Michael Jackson, and we played a ton of board games. Fast forward many years later, I made my oldest son a stand for his player and all of his vinyl collection. So I'm really excited to take on this project. The cabinet is made entirely of beech with the exception of the sliding front doors. Beech veneer plywood for the carcass, and the trim is all solid wood. I had to special order the plywood. It took a bit of time to get to me, but I think in the end the client's really gonna like the cabinet. Where the top meets the sides, I'm using a 45-degree angle to keep everything looking crisp. I built this simple table saw sled about this time last year for projects just like this, cutting 45-degree angles with the saw. If there's one tip I can offer when doing glue-ups is to put tape on the meeting pieces. Glue-ups are already a headache as it is, and that includes the cleanup, so this should save you some time so you don't have to put up with all that mess. For the center divider, I'm going to use this, my homemade dado jig. I'm going to glue a couple pieces of the beech plywood together for extra support. This dado jig was simple to make. I'll leave a link above on how I made this one. It just uses a 1/2-inch template router bit with a bearing that runs against the sides of the jig. Now I'm going to take some time to set up for everything the cabinet needs when it comes to the solid beech. I'll joint plane and cut everything down, and I'll glue up some pieces to make the small tapered leg blanks. After I marked where I want all the tapers to go on the small leg blanks, I whipped up a small jig for my bandsaw. It gets the perfect angle I need to cut for the tapers. It's really just a super simple jig with 3 pieces of plywood, so I run it through on the bandsaw to get the first taper. For the second one, I need to replace the offcut and attach it back to the leg. I use double-sided tape for it, and what it does, it supports the next cut through the bandsaw. The The doors will slide back and forth on a couple of tracks I made from a piece of beech. Now, if I had to do this again, I think I might use a thicker piece and then cut it down afterwards. The dado blade does a great job here, but it was such a thin piece. After the glue dries on this thin piece of trim on my cabinet divider, I saw off the excess and then used my palm router set up with a flush cut bit to clean it all up. This is a tip I like to break out whenever running a router bit with a bearing over top of veneer plywood. I find once in a while the bearing will leave a mark on the veneer, and you know you can't sand it out because you're going to sand right through it. So this definitely helps prevent it. This was provided to me by the customer for the doors. It was left over from wall treatments that they put in their house, so that's what they're going to get. It's from one of the big box stores, made of MDF primed in white. The glue is dry on the back and on the door panels, and I head off to my table saw and rip it down to the size that I need it. And after carefully measuring the panel, I use my track saw to cut it in half. Kind of, though. The doors need to overlap slightly so you don't see the inside of the cabinet when they both are closed. The cabinet is going to have several of these metal dividers to separate the vinyls, so I make another quick jig to divide the holes in the bottom. The jig also has the exact center marked, so I put a piece of painter's tape down and mark the intervals where I want the holes to be, and it lines up perfectly. With the inside of the cabinet, along with the shelf and doors all painted black, it's time to move on to the cabinet itself, and I start off with a pre-sanding sealer. This helps with blotchiness and gives you an even coat. Everything I'm using is water-based, all from Minwax. I'll leave all the colors I use below in the description. After I lightly sand the pre-stain with 400 grit, it's onto my color. After adding a generous coat of the stain, and it was super hot in my shop while I was doing this, made for quick drying, and it was a bit of a pain too, so I wiped it off and it all worked out. I wrap everything up with 3 coats of this protector. If you're looking for an affordable sprayer, this one is good. It does a bang-up job with paint, stains, and urethanes. So what do you think? Something a bit different using these wall panels for the sliding doors. Thank you for watching and supporting my channel. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and if you have any questions, leave them below.